I did an earlier video called Seasoning the Movies where I tried to figure out which season each film would have been in, and that was kind of fun. So I came up with this other idea, and I've had this idea for a while of what would I name, or rather rename, the original 6 Star Trek films. And all but one, I only kept one the same. Not Star Trek one, but one of the films the same. And anyway, I hope that you enjoy this, that it's a little bit of a surprise and maybe it's kind of funny too. Okay, so obviously beginning with Star Trek, the motion picture, I get the historical value of calling it that. I mean, it had gone from a television show to being a major motion picture. But we already know it's a motion picture if we're going into a movie theater. So I thought a better title would just be Star Trek Returns. Not the best title in the world, but not the worst either. And I think it's a little bit better than Star Trek, the motion picture. The motion picture just falls flat. And I think when people hear the title, the motion picture, even some of them get bored. What are you going to do with them? Okay. So on to Star Trek II, and this is the only one of the 6 which I can't come up with a better title. The Wrath of Khan is just a great title. I'm glad that they went with that instead of The Vengeance of Khan or, whatever. The Wrath of Khan it's great. I mean, what else are you going to call it? Space Seed 2 or Space Flower? I mean, no. Wrath of Khan. That's a great title. And on to Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that title, and I do like it. But there's something a little bit goofy there. And maybe that's okay. I think that's okay. I think it's great. But yeah, my title, Star Trek III, The Genesis Effect, it ties in as a sequel to Star Trek II better, and it also says exactly what's going on in the movie, both to the Genesis planet and to Mr. Spock. How on earth can you help them? The original poster said Stardate 1987. How on earth can they save the future? So I was just playing around with that. But as far as the title of Star Trek IV goes, I think it's really, really wanting. I mean, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. The Voyage Home. That doesn't really tell you anything. I mean, we pretty much knew that they'd be headed back to Earth at some point, so The Voyage Home is it's a really bland, nothing title. It really is. So that's why I suggest something just straight up and obvious and in your face. Save the whales. Star Trek IV, Save the Whales, with an exclamation point. The much maligned Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Well, part of the problem with this movie is the title, The Final Frontier. We know it's the final frontier. We've been going to the final frontier. In 1989, they'd been going to the final frontier for 23 years. We knew that. It's a boring title. It sounds pretentious. So I came up with what I thought was a better title. If maybe a little bit goofy, but who cares? So, yeah, Star Trek V. Oh my God. I think that this title fits the movie in so many ways that it is, for me, it's the perfect title to Star Trek V. Oh my God. All right, well, talking about pretentious titles, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, has got the most pretentious title ever. First of all, they present the undiscovered country as meaning the future, when actually that's not right at all. The undiscovered country, Shakespeare, Hamlet, it referred to death. Death is in the future, but that's not what they were trying to do with the film. Nicholas Meyer, the director, was just trying to shove that title in there because he wanted that title in Star Trek II, and they wouldn't let him do it. So that when he got a second chance in Star Trek VI, he just named it that, The Undiscovered Country, because he likes that title. I think that a better title, frankly, would be The Organian Prophecy. Now, I know that's getting really deep cut Star Trek nerd, but that's what I love about it, because that's exactly what Star Trek VI did. It fulfilled the Organian prophecy from the episode The Errand of Mercy, in which the Organians said that one day the Federation and the Klingons would work together as friends. And to finish off on a light note, if not somewhat sarcastic, the next movie after Star Trek VI, with the first movie of Next Generation, and it's called Generations, because inexplicably Captain Kirk and Picard get to fight together. I think a more honest title for this would be Let's Kill Kirk. Yeah, that's more honest. Well, that's all I got for you on this one. So it's Daddy Star Trek signing off.